Well, we wish we were coming into the post-game show with a lot more excitement, watching the Phillies having come back in Game 4 with a better performance, but Game 4 actually was worse than Game 3. I see the chat is already loaded. Welcome into PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington here. Back-to-back losses for the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks tied things up. It was the Phillies series. We were talking about sweeps. We were talking about winning in 5. And here we are instead. 2-2 after a 6-5 loss. A very frustrating loss. A lot of questionable decisions. A lot of poor performances. A lot of mistakes and errors. Costly ones. And when you add it all up, you drop a game 5-6. And not a good day. Not a good day. So welcome in, guys. Wish I could welcome you on better terms. As the song goes by Lauryn Hill, it could all be so simple, but you'd rather make it hard, because that's right now what the Phillies have done to us, Jamie. Make this very stressful. Today and yesterday could have been easy days. Could have been simple. You come out, you continue playing the way you've been playing. Bullpen steady, but instead bullpen is looking not so great. And the at-bats have not been so great. The base running has not been so great. A lot of errors that have not been so great. And here we are, 2-2.
Yeah, to drop the bullpen game out there after having the lead you did tonight is borderline inexcusable. 8 different pitchers for the Diamondbacks, and you just can't let that one get away. You had the lead. I think in hindsight, and it being 2020, I probably would have wanted to either given Sanchez a little more rope there or tried to preserve Hoffman.
Yeah.
I think that ended up being the decision of the game because after that, I can't really fault Rob a ton for the bullpen decisions because his hands were kind of relatively strung. I'm still kind of digesting it. We're fresh. We're licking our wounds here. But I immediately go back to the Sanchez decision and the immediate Hoffman usage. And I look back on that, and I'm like, man, that changed the game in major, major ways.
It's another game where we are sitting here saying we shouldn't have to be in this situation. 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning. You shouldn't have to have Cave come in as a pinch hitter. You shouldn't have to have, Orion, Craig, just not good situations to be in. And it did start early. You would have loved to see Christopher Sanchez go longer. I know yesterday I was excited to see Christopher Sanchez get the start. We haven't seen Sanchez start in a month. Was looking forward to seeing how he took the mound.
And that's something you have to... I don't know. I think criticize Rob Thomson a little bit about. The bullpen wasn't that deep. You knew at some point you were probably going to need Michael Lorenzen and Christopher Sanchez in not a big role, but a role. And to not get them a little bit work before this. Christopher Sanchez had a lot of time off.
Yeah.
You wish he would have been... maybe stretched out a little bit more. Well, not stretched out because that's a spring training term. But you know what I mean? A little bit more in the zone here because he was going to have an impact on this series. And now you look ahead to tomorrow, and you essentially need Zach Wheeler to give you 7 1/3, 7 2/3 type of performance because your best arm, Alvarado, is pitching an insane amount. Kimbrel, I don't think anybody in this chat Diamondback fan, well, you obviously have confidence in him, but nobody else here wearing Phillies gear has confidence in Kimbrel. Orion can't go a third day. He had never gone back-to-back days.
Shouldn't have gone back-to-back.
Well, they just didn't. I don't know who else they could have gone to. So you're going to need Soto tomorrow for you. You're probably going to need Hoffman to go close to 2 innings. You're probably going to have to use Michael Lorenzen potentially because you can't use Taiwan in a bullpen type of situation. It's all hands on deck tomorrow, but now the bullpen is taxed, and you need Zach Wheeler to come up not only big in terms of earned runs, but in terms of innings pitched. You need him to eat a game tomorrow because this bullpen has worked.
Yeah.
And same to be said for Arizona's. Both bullpens are worked, but, they won game 2.
Yeah. I just think, as you guys are coming into the chat, I know you're dropping in your thoughts. Obviously, the game just ended moments ago, so we're very fresh off of that game 4. Phillies lost. I know MBDBDBF, you're talking about it's a game of fundamentals. Well. Thank you very much. Game of fundamentals, pitching, defense, productive at bats. The first 8 games of the playoffs, we had it. The last 2, we didn't. Scott, you're saying Soto couldn't touch the strike zone either. Heavy on the starters tomorrow, Big Mike Mickey D. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because we obviously have had our throughout the course of the season, we've talked a lot, whether on the show or just amongst each other, about the bullpen struggles. And it felt like as late September rolled around that the bullpen had gotten to a point that was very sharp. The rotations were down. You knew who was coming in into which types of roles and positions. But then come playoffs, it felt like things got away from the routine too much. And today it came back to bite the Phillies. You look at the way that the bullpen specifically had been pitching prior to yesterday even, it's rough to see how quick pitchers have been getting pulled because now, Sanchez, for example, who didn't pitch great, but Sanchez didn't pitch for a month. I thought he was solid. I thought he was solid. Sanchez gave up 2 hits, a run, a walk, only had 1 strikeout in 2 1/3 inning, and was pulled. And now you're scrambling because now you have Jeff Hoffman coming in earlier, and now Strom's coming in earlier. So I said this yesterday, Jamie, that Rob Thomson, I know you said you don't fault Rob, but I said Rob has to be more patient. You can't pick and choose. Sometimes you're too patient, sometimes you're impatient. You've got to manage the game well. And sometimes you're panicking and you're pulling a guy like Sanchez off the mound fast.
I think the critique of him not using him up until this date
that
is
was
more
the other
than fair.
issue.
I think he probably had a pitch count in his mind from, the medical science people and the analytics department and all that. And he probably had a certain mark and he got to a point in the game and they probably felt good about it. I think critiquing them for not, using him before this or whatever is more than fair. But it's a decision you're going to look back on. There's lots to get into from this game. Actually, there was a lot of stuff going on. But the Phillies are at the point now where Craig Kimbrel and Orion Kerkerine, you don't really have any confidence in a high leverage situation, and it is completely flipped the bullpen on its head.
It's messed things up in a big way.
Yeah, and Jose Alvarado, the broadcasting crew said it tonight. They said he went through an entire season of inheriting no runners and basically being an 8th or 9th inning guy coming in fresh to inheriting all the runners because he all of a sudden has been all you have back there. And, the bullpen has come crashing down on you and at an absolutely horrendous time.
That's the thing. There's a lot of things that when you really look at this game contributed to why the Phillies lost. There's unfortunately not just one person, one play that you can pick out that really was the main reason. I mean, and I know we're talking about Sanchez to start, and I want to stay there because obviously Sanchez did have that error early on that led to the first run of the game,
Jesus.
And you lose by 1 run. Like it's
Bohm and him in back-to-back plays.
It's just
unfundamental baseball.
It's just the lack of awareness. It's a shame because you're in the NLCS. You come off of 2, I would say 1.5 really good games to start off the series. And game 3 and game 4 were just lackluster, unaware, not great game management is what the issue was. Like, it's not even just about the overall performance. It's the game management, the unawareness of where runners are and where you are in outs and things like that, that led to giving up runs. And that's what ultimately led to the bullpen being stretched too thin and us not sure who to put in and who's gonna come on the mound next. It's just overall, at this point, to see things falling apart, the question is who or how will the Phillies right the ship? And we talked about this yesterday, but here we are back again today in the same boat. And now you have to depend on Zach tomorrow to go out and essentially pitch the majority of the games, 6-7 innings.
And the problem is Zach Allen is a much better pitcher at Chase Field than he is on the road, and you already had your chance on the road at him. And you know, Tyler labeled our show tonight 3-game series, and that's what it is. 2 of the games. I understand the format of 2-3-2, but I got to say I absolutely hate it. And I'm not just saying that. I've always hated it. This is not a reaction to going down 2-2. But Zach Allen is much better at Chase Field than he is on the road. So now, you know, Zach Wheeler is everything. It's critical for him tomorrow to be great. And it's fair to expect he's going to be great. But, man, yeah, that's a huge spot for him. And Zach Allen is probably going to be much better.
Yeah. I mean, it's before we even get tomorrow is like, gosh, I'm just scared.
Tomorrow is everything.
Tomorrow's everything. It's scary.
I don't know the exact odds off the top of my head, but I want to say the team that takes a game 5 in a best of 7 is something like 74 or 76% of the time they win the series. So yeah, tomorrow is huge. You know, you can always win 2 back in Citizens Bank Park if need be, but you could also not. So, you know, tomorrow's huge. There's a lot to get into tonight. A lot. I don't know how much of it I really put on Rob Thomson. I saw MBDF. You know, I can't say all the letters. You're really good at it. Say he would have gone to Taijuan Walker instead of Hoffman there, and I know how terrifying and gross that sounds because Taijuan Walker was a gas can in the final 6 weeks of the season, but I agree with that. Like, I don't understand not using him. I've been talking Sanchez or Walker. The other guy's just going to be handcuffed right to him.
That's what should have been the case.
You know, you figure you get 2 times through the order for whoever starts. I assume the next guy was going to come in right away. Tyler, as we were watching that situation unfold, says, well, Rob Thomson obviously thinks this is an incredibly high leverage situation to use Hoffman here.
Third inning.
Yes, but the offense was kind of stuck in the mud, and I guess Rob Thomson felt that too. So to Tyler's point, he did sense that to be a high leverage situation. And now looking back on it, it's foolish. Hoffman is now your second best arm behind Alvarado. No. So it's foolish to use that guy in a 4th inning there. So yeah. You know, the decisions that came from pulling Sanchez is like threefold and basically the game.
I think my issue is for the bullpen specifically, this is like deja vu. We just had the same situation happen yesterday. It did not work out. Why go back and do the exact same thing again? Hoffman was in and pulled early and pulled quickly. You put Orion in. You put Craig in a situation that we shouldn't have had him in. You know, we had the same exact situation yesterday. So I think, to me, that's why in those moments, instead of going to first of all, I definitely think I would have kept Sanchez in a little bit longer. You could feel that Sanchez was not on tonight fully, but we didn't expect him to be because, as we talked about, he hasn't thrown. He hasn't gotten game reps.
He's been throwing, but nothing
it's not
real.
The same.
Yeah.
It's not the same if you're getting bullpen reps versus game reps. So that part, we didn't expect Sanchez to come out today and have the strongest performance. But still, you pull him too quickly, and then you go straight to Hoffman. Why not try Walker out? It's the same issue as the Sanchez problem. The longer you go without putting Walker on the mound, the longer you go without trying Lorenzen, the harder it's going to be to ever have to put them in.
Yeah,
with each game, it gets tougher. They're not getting those game reps in.
A couple of people in the chat were saying, like, why even have Walker on the roster if you can't use him?
Lorenzen's the same thing. You bring him back and put him on the roster, and you don't use him either.
I thought they were on the roster for that exact situation tonight, which was like a fourth, fifth inning, and sixth inning eater, potentially.
And then the other part of that is you go back to Orion and Craig. And I know a lot of people are like, Craig is single-handedly losing this NLCS for the Phillies right now. And if I see him again on the mound, I'm gonna lose it.
You can't use him.
You can't use him, and you haven't. So now you're gonna trust a rookie in Orion who's never pitched back-to-back games.
You can't use him
in a situation like this with all the pressure. You are setting these guys up to fail. Now Orion, who already gave up a run and 3 hits yesterday, comes out today, gives up another crucial run, tying run, flips the game. Craig comes in, loses the game, and here we are again, and these guys now are getting ran out of town because you put them in situations that they shouldn't be in because you're setting them up to fail. Why go back to them when we just saw them 24 hours ago in the same situation struggle? I'm not a huge fan of Lorenzen, Walker, but I'm also not a huge fan of the fact that we just saw them yesterday. Try somebody else out. I would rather try Lorenzen in that situation instead of Orion. I'd rather try Walker sooner or at all because you at least don't know what you're going to get. That's why I enjoyed the fact that you put Sanchez out for the start today, because you cannot have a deep run in the postseason with just Wheeler and Nola and Ranger being the consistent pitchers we can rely on. And then after they step off the mound, we don't know what's going to happen unless it's Jose out there.
Yeah,
you have to get guys going.
I wonder if Ranger and his wheelbarrow he uses in the postseason to carry around his other third is going to make himself available tomorrow.
You have to use these guys.
We've seen him on short rest before in the bullpen. I wonder if he says, Rob, no, I'm good. Get me out there.
Yeah.
Chris Miller in the chat said something I completely agree with, and I was sitting next to Rich Hoffman behind you guys on the couch, taking a bunch of notes like a real nerd. But Rich pointed this out right away, and I completely agree, Chris. I thought JT called a horrible batter with Orion. Actually, probably 2 or 3 batters. Orion Kerkering has a nasty 93-mile-an-hour sweeper, slider, whatever the hell you want to call it. And they were trying to go, low and outside, and they weren't getting the calls, and they were missing their spots big time. Orion also throws 99, 100 miles an hour potentially. Maybe if the adrenaline's pumping, he can get to 100, but he's a 98, 99 guy. Why are you not trying to blow gas by them? And JT called, I think by Rich's count, 7 breaking balls in a row for Orion, and they weren't, getting over. That's a bad called game right there by JT. So I thought he was pretty bad in the bullpen situation as well.
Yeah.
And Derek Bodner hit us with this stat on the way out. Renee, I'll ask you. I don't know if you heard it. I think you might have already walked in studio.
I already knew the result. I was out.
Of Kerkering, Soto, Kimbrel, and Alvarado faced 13 batters combined. How many first pitch strikes do you think they threw? Of those 13,
1.
2. I guessed 1 as well.
Yeah.
So that's not a recipe for success, and I think part of that is on JT. Dan says trust the fastball in the chat. Yeah, and look, if they took one of those fastballs yard, we'd be sitting here saying, I can't believe he's throwing fastballs, but that's baseball. I thought JT with all those breaking balls that weren't getting over, that cost them.
Go with what's working. Honestly,
throw the gas.
Keep it simple. Go with what's been working. Don't switch it up and try to get cute. And yesterday and today's games for the Phillies felt like they were trying to get too cute. Overthinking things, trying to do things a different way. All season, we've been seeing, a deeper rotation of the bullpen. We've been seeing fastballs, Orion specifically with fastballs. That's why Orion is here. That's why we saw Orion get called up. It was his fastballs. Why now in a big moment are the Phillies across the board, from Rob all the way through to the youngster in Orion and everybody in between? Why now switch it up and completely change from what's been working? It just feels like it seems like the bullpen has been put in positions to fail because the rotation has been all over the place. And that part is what I do put on Rob. I honestly, it's frustrating to see that we have the talented, when you look across, we have talked about the talented arms across the bullpen. And now in a game like today, not only the Diamondbacks stretched thin, but so are the Phillies. There's just no reason for that. And that's back-to-back days where errors, poor rotation, mistakes happened. So yeah, as you talk about, and I know Chris just dropped a really nice stat for us. We talk about the importance of Game 5. Well, since both league championship series expanded to a best-of-7 format in 1985, there have been 28 LLCS or World Series that were tied at 2-2. The winner of Game 5 has gone on to win the series in 18 of those, which is 64.3%. That's as of 2017. So over half of the series where someone wins Game 5, they go on to win it. So the frustrating part is you're in this situation. And as we know, being up 3-1 going into Game 5 versus tied 2-2, totally different ball game. But the optimistic part, as we were trying to be optimistic yesterday as well, the optimistic part is you've got to win Game 5. Whoever wins this game is absolutely in the driver's seat. And so the Phillies have to make adjustments. If you're Rob, if you're Kyle, if you're everybody, every single person needs to be looking in the mirror and making adjustments, because there's nobody that you can really point to that has been playing consistently well for the Phillies at this point, with the last two games specifically.
Yeah, Bryce Harper has had basically the bat taken out of his hands these last two games. That's got to change. Last night on the ride home, and look, Alec Boehm got, that hopper down the third base line that did contribute to some runs, so I'm not trying to roast him, and he did get that bloop single to left field late. He started to make contact on the ball. I would have made a change today at the 4-hole. I just don't think they respect him enough right now, and maybe the floodgates will open now that he got a couple kind of like weird hits. But he also made 2 base running mistakes.
Big base running mistakes.
As well tonight. So that was pretty brutal. So I can't throw bouquets at Boehm for the performance. I would move JT into the 4-hole tomorrow. You need Bryce Harper's bat back in this lineup. You need somebody behind him that they're going to respect, because they're not throwing him anything to hit. And if Bryce Harper's bat is taken out of this lineup, it changes everything. Especially with the way Castellanos is playing, the way Stott is playing, and the way Boehm is playing. Those 3 guys, carried you kind of throughout the playoffs and last round, and now they have disappeared. And Chase Field sucks. All right? I don't care if you're a Diamondbacks fan in the chat right now coming to gloat. Your stadium sucks. Okay? It's terrible. It's enormous. It's got weird lighting, and it's a dead ball factory. It's like a humidor. Stupid. It stinks. I can't wait to get back to a real baseball stadium at Citizens Bank Park. Your stadium sucks. All right? That's it. That's my little tangent about Chase Field.
And that's the end of the show. No, it's the good. That's it. Wrap it up. The end. Look, as Eugene Krabs was saying, one positive is it's already Saturday. It's already Game 5 day, guys. Game 4, that was yesterday's.
Game 5.
That was yesterday's news. We're now on to Game 5 game day. Happy game day, guys. Happy game day. Good morning.
Is this the pregame show?
Good morning. It's game day. We're now switched from postgame into pregame show. Look, it's the umpires were making some very questionable calls. Chase Field is huge.
The umpires suck. Brandon Marsh was right.
That
was terrible in the ninth inning.
There were some very big misses, and especially in the 8th, the 9th inning, you can't have that. But like I always say, you shouldn't have to be in that situation, and you always expect bad calls. Find me a game where there are no bad calls. There are none. There's always going to be bad calls. But you cannot, up 5-2, have a game swing 6-5. You don't score runs. You're giving up hits, and now you're giving up runs also. It's not okay. At this level, at this point in the season, not okay to have so many lulls. We saw it even in Game 1. And the Phillies did escape out of that one 5-3. But you can't continue to just kind of hit a wall and now all of a sudden everything stops. Bohm can't run bases. Bryce is not getting anything at bat. Nick, JT, Bryson, where are you? I mean, I literally typed in my notes, where are the Phillies? Because it just feels like we went from all these big names that we're talking about the depth of the team and next man up and anybody at any moment can make a big play to can somebody make a play? Can we get one guy, any guy on any side of the ball to make a play and do something well? It's like you feel like we have seen a resurgence in both games for 3 and 4. It felt like we're turning a corner and, that was the play that was going to change the momentum. The double play in game 3 or, Alec Bohm helping them score 2 runs and driving in 2 runners. Felt like once Kyle and Trey ran in and you take the lead 4-2, this is it. The Phillies are back. And then they completely dropped off again. It just, you can't have these waves. It's got to be consistent from start to finish. And the Diamondbacks or anybody else you play is going to make you pay for that.
Yeah, you're right. And all I'm sitting here is thinking about, 3, 4, basically 5, 6, and 7 are letting you down. And
yes.
3 is not because it's Bryce's fault. 3 is because they stopped throwing him anything relatively close to something to drive or hit. So, that's just good baseball by the Diamondbacks. I'm surprised it took teams this long to kind of figure that out. But with Bohm, tonight was a step in the right direction, no doubt about it. I'm not trying to shit on him. But he's been pretty bad this series. And man, Stott, I made the case this year that Stott was the team's MVP. I thought he was the most consistent, well-grounded, kind of slump-proof type of kid. And he's really coming up small in this series, which sucks because he's been so great this year, and we haven't really seen these struggles, which is really unfortunate.
Honestly, I don't even know.
I'm just kind of sad about it. I just thought I'd share my feelings.
I don't know where
Poor Bryson.
I don't know where Bryson Stott is. In the 3 at-bats in yesterday's game, not a single hit. So nothing struck out. Nothing came from Bryson Stott. And then today, Bryson Stott also had 0 hits and a walk. I mean, you know what? It's never good when a guy disappears. And Stott has disappeared. Alec Bohm actually is not playing well either, but hasn't disappeared. I don't know what's worse. I don't know if I'd rather have Stott disappear. Bohm has at least...
Bohm's hit the ball hard and just gotten unlucky sometimes.
Yeah, he
whereas
at least
Stott's not even driving anything.
Listen, for as much as we talk about Alec Bohm being that he needs to be moved from the 4-hole, did have 2 hits, and obviously one was the RBI that helped put the Phillies up 4-2. It's like more along the lines of the fact we haven't seen Stott at all. That's the frustrating part to me at this point because Bohm is having some moments, base runnings. I don't know what happens there, but at least has some hits. Help score some runs. Do something. Just do something, please. Bryson Stott, give us something. JT, Nick Castellanos. Where is Casty Clutch?
Nick's having a bad series.
We haven't seen Castellanos at all. Again, 4 at-bats today, not a single hit, 0s. He was out there. We saw the catch. Great catch. 0s on the other side of the ball. In the game yesterday, I don't have it fully up in front of me yet, but 0s, I believe it was on that as well. You cannot have guys just disappear and be non-factors where you go to bat 4 times, 3 times if you're Bryson Stott, and we get nothing from you. You don't get a hit. You don't get anything. You don't get a walk. Nothing. There's nothing coming from you at bat. It's an out. And that's the issue. I was even saying when Bohm hit the RBI, just keep the inning alive. That's honestly what the Diamondbacks are doing. They're just finding ways to get guys on base and keep the inning alive. You cannot have 1, 2, 3, and you're done.
So Rob Thomson quote just now from the locker room. He says, "You can come back tomorrow and play good baseball and you get your ace on the mound. I think that's the best way to do it. yeah, we didn't have momentum at the start of the game, and then we got it back. And then I thought Hoffman, Strom, and Sir Anthony did a nice job too. But for some reason, at the back end of our bullpen, we just didn't throw strikes tonight. It's a rarity. I mean, yeah. But you kind of have to throw strikes in the bullpen. That's literally what your job is. And now the bullpen is kind of erupted all confidence you have in Orion, Kimbrel. Sir Anthony was okay tonight considering some of the other performances. Soto, I mean, man, JT made a great play on a Soto pitch in the dirt that runners, they were on the corners. It should have been second and third. And JT saved the base runner there. It's just, Hoffman and Alvarado are the only guys back there that you have like real confidence in. And I don't know how you handle this going forward. You absolutely need 7+ out of Wheeler tomorrow night. And that's a lot to ask because he's been starting to get hit in the 6th inning of his past 2 games. So, man, I really wish they had used Taijuan Walker or Michael Lorenzen tonight. I don't care. Go with Rob's gut, whoever he thought. To burn Hoffman that early and then now have this in front of you in a pretty much a must-win game in Game 5 in Arizona is your job just got pretty tough. Rob Thomson's, that is.
The other issue is with having World Series championship expectations and goals. You're not winning series if the game plan is Zach Nola and Ranger do a good job in their 3 starts, and then from there you just close your eyes and hope you get through. That's not a way to. No, you cannot have a huge drop off in the bullpen, and the bullpen had been rolling. They had been doing a good job. You were able to call on different guys and Hoffman, Craig, Orion, Walker, whoever, and it stays steady. But now it's at a point where we're cringing at whoever's coming up next to the mound because it's going to be bad. Craig Kimbrel gets to call up. It's like, whoa. Oh no, it's Craig. Oh no, it's Orion. You cannot have that in the playoffs. It's the NLCS, and we're cringing at who's next.
But I actually agreed to go to Kimbrel there and save Alvarado for the 9th. It blew up on you, and it didn't work. But chances are Kimbrel would have blown up on you in the 9th either way. He couldn't throw strikes.
Should have had to go to Kimbrel.
But that's all you got. I mean, there's nobody else.
So
they're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, as they would say.
If you're able to keep Sanchez out there longer, you go to Walker instead of Hoffman. Now Hoffman comes in later.
That's where everything changed.
Right. Now Hoffman comes in later.
That's the decision of the game.
Orion doesn't have to come in. You had Strom, Dominguez, and Soto in the mix there. Obviously, Jose is going to get out there. Now you don't need Orion. And, I mean, I'm not doing any of that math off the top of my head, but you might not need Craig either if you can get out of that. So I understand in that moment, Craig was the only option. In that moment, it felt like Orion was the only option. But what led to that was prior, the Sanchez early pull to Hoffman. That's where it literally, from there, you didn't have options because we already knew Dominguez, Soto, and Strom weren't going to give us much beyond an inning.
No.
So you're limited there. You don't expect those to be guys that are going to give you 2 innings or anything like that.
That's why it's shocking.
You know what Jose Alvarado is going to give you.
Some type of middle reliever.
It's got to be better. It can't be just...
Lorenzen has the bullpen experience. He, probably is the guy. I don't know. He's done it in his career. Why not? I don't understand why he'd carry the 2 of them and not use them.
I don't either.
It's a perplexing thing, and we'll see. We'll get into the lines for tomorrow a little bit later this show. But now, weird day in baseball. Texas and Houston also now tied up after a Jose Altuve 9th inning home run for the Astros. So, 3-2 Astros. Yeah, excuse me. They tied it up already last night.
Yep.
So they took the lead after the comeback today. So the Astros are the vampires that just won't die and go away. So pretty crazy day in baseball. There was a bench is clearing. And if you're listening to the podcast, I do that in parentheses. The bench is cleared, but nobody did anything. It was just a hold me back, tough guy baseball.
It was some jawing back and forth. It was some finger wagging and pointing, and it was an attempt, like some flinching, but nothing ever actually took off.
Yeah,
but Jose
classic
Altuve
baseball.
with that 3-run homer. The Astros down 4-2, comes back to win 5-4, take the series lead. Holy crap.
Yeah,
so we could be the Rangers
unbelievable.
fans right now instead, and that would be very frustrating after going up 2-0. But we're hoping that's not the case here because it is tied 2-2, and right now there's no real momentum in this series. You can't point at either team and say that they're playing specifically well and outplaying the other. It's been a lot of back and forth. We definitely put a lot of pressure on Wheeler, Kyle. I agree with you. And I just don't like this mentality of, well, Wheeler's got us, Nola's got us, Rangers got us. That's not enough. It's a 9-inning game, and they're going to give you the best 6 they've got, maybe 7, and then what? We can't just continue to hope that after 6-7 innings, we've done enough that it'll close out the remainder of the game. Because as we saw with the Astros game, as we saw tonight, it's with the Phillies loss, you have to be able to put together a full game. And so I would love to see some adjustments made. Something has to be done. The bullpen, and definitely with the at-bats, has to be better because the Phillies got struck out 11 times today, as what I had counted at. But also just the amount of hits, not a great day. I mean, Kyle Schwarber did well. The home run.
Nice little shore bomb there that gave kind of gave you the team the confidence of like, all right, there we go. It was a rough 4 or 5 innings or whatever it was at that point, and Schwarbaum kind of awoke the offense there. So that was good to see. That's one of the bright spots of the game offensively. There wasn't a lot of them. Schwarber's been okay. He's been solid this series.
He's been picking it up he's definitely, as the postseason has gone on.
Him and Turner aren't the problem.
No.
Harper's not the problem. 4 through 7 have been the problem lately. And Rojas, credit to him, went the opposite way with the pitch, got the triple, became the fastest man alive, and got to third. So that was good to see out of him tonight. Obviously, Cave pinch hit for him late. That's really a shame that in the playoffs, your best pinch hitter is Cave.
Another issue. And honestly,
that sucks.
Rojas gave you what we expect from Rojas. He's
It was good to see him get to third. That was a big
third.
play.
He ran. He scored a run. He did more than a lot of other guys across the Phillies batting order did. But it shouldn't get to the point that you have Cave pinch hitting for you. Just like I said yesterday, and that's the biggest thing. What we've seen in the 8th, 9th inning
changed the game. Yeah. And Alec Thomas.
Well, their Alec came in and did something very spectacular.
So their pinch hitter did something good.
Well, you can also do something good. You can go over to FOCO and you can check out their merchandise. If you still want to purchase some merch to support your teams, FOCO has a lot of different merchandise. Bobbleheads, collectibles, shirts, towels, banners, wall hangings. It's all there. Use that code PHLY. Get 10% off when you head over to FOCO and get anything you are looking to buy. Get a nice 10% off discount with that PHLY code at FOCO. We need all the rallying we can get. Obviously, there will be at least a game 6 at this point. The hope was, of course, not to have to come back to Philly, but as you guys are talking about, yes, going back to Philly at some point after tomorrow's game, things will come back. So with that, it went from we might sweep, maybe in 5, to we're definitely going to have 6. But the great news is the series now ending in Philly. We all know, and we've all talked about the benefits of playing at Citizens Bank Park. And right now, the Phillies are needing something to get over the hump. Obviously, Game 5 tomorrow, definitely cannot afford to drop that. Got to find a way to win tomorrow and head back home up 3-2, hopefully with some momentum. As we've talked about on the show before, the frustration of losing a game is now you're in the clubhouse, you're defeated. Instead of dancing around to dancing on my own and everything else and being excited and dumping snacks and, water on each other and post-game pressers and interviews, you're now in the clubhouse defeated and frustrated and overthinking, and that's not what you need at this point of the season. So tomorrow, the must-win game for this series, and the Phillies have to figure out a way to get a W tomorrow, Jamie.
Well, right now on DraftKings, I just pulled it up, and the good news is Zach Wheeler's getting his respect on the money line tomorrow. The Phillies are a -135 favorite in the game. Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks are +114 on the money line. So, not a huge favorite at -135, but the favorite, and rightfully so. I know Zach Gallen's a lot better at Chase Field, but Zach Wheeler's getting his respect as, if not the best big game pitcher going right now, certainly in the top 2 or 3. So, that's slightly encouraging to see. My early gut, Renee, is I feel just okay about tomorrow. I want to feel a lot better than I do right now, but I am worried. If Zach Wheeler, gets hit in the 6th inning, what are they going to? Jose Alvarado was just asked in the locker room, are you going to be available tomorrow? And he said, basically, you bet your ass. So Jose will be ready. Again, we mentioned Ranger. If it's a dire situation, could we see him come back in? I think you could. Hoffman, I think, is reliable. Outside of that, you're playing Russian roulette a little bit at this point because nobody else really makes you feel good. So, Rob Thompson's had his fingerprint on a massive way. We can go through my notes of the game here in a little bit because his fingerprint last night was felt all over the place. His fingerprint tonight was felt all over the place. And for the most part, my gut says, he wasn't overly to blame tonight by any means. Sanchez should have been able to go longer, but it's one I can't roast him for. And most of the decisions he made are okay. We'll go through the notes, but there's been a big managerial impact on this series, no doubt about it.
It definitely has been. I know I see you guys in the chat dropping your thoughts. I saw earlier somebody was mentioning this is not a must win. It's a want to win. No, tomorrow's game is definitely a must win. We just dropped the stat that teams that have won game 5s where it's tied 2-2 series have gone on to win just under 65% of the series. To be down 3-2 is a tough comeback. It's not impossible, but it just makes things tougher. Now you've got to win the next 2, obviously. And to drop 3 straight, if the Phillies were to lose tomorrow and you drop 3 straight, that's tough to come back from. So yes, tomorrow is absolutely a must-win game for several reasons, without a doubt. Not a want to win, it's a need to win, because the Phillies, you cannot come out of Phoenix dropping 3 straight after especially the way this series started. So I know we've talked about the management component, and I saw people talking about it on even Twitter and everything, and I think what I'm stuck on is there's been so many bullpen types of decisions, but there's been nothing that we've seen in terms of batting order. We did see Cave come in as a pinch hitter, but other than that, there's been no change in the lineup or anything like that, and we said it yesterday. I just had deja vu. I don't know if it's because we said it yesterday or it's because maybe I've been thinking this so much. You've got to change something up. This is not working. I know Rob is very big on lefty-righty and matchups and this, that, and the third with pitchers and whatnot, but this has not worked the last 2 games. And honestly, game 2, yes, 10-0, everything was working. Game 1 was not. There was. All
right, I just had
some not great moments.
Baseball managers, when you're talking about changing the lineup and all that, they never want to be too reactionary, and God forbid.
Correct.
But I think with this Phillies team, it's almost been interchangeable throughout the course of the season, where guys have gone up and down and all over the place. Castellanos gone from 4 to 7, and things have changed up a lot. Tyler, I want to gauge your reaction if this is a crazy thought to get Bryce Harper back in this series. Bat him second and Trey Turner third.
You want my absolute craziness that I've been saying for 2 years?
Lead off.
Bryce Harper should be your leadoff hitter.
He's your most qualified leadoff hitter. I've said that before.
People don't like to hear that.
I know people don't like to hear it, but that's not going to happen tomorrow.
It's
No.
a gut reaction.
But Bryce Harper 2, Trey Turner 3. No, you're out.
I mean, I'm not out. It won't happen.
No, it won't happen, but you need Bryce Harper's bat
And
back
I don't
in the
think it
series.
has to be a drastic move. Like, I'm not one to say, oh, you lose, throw everything away, and let's hit the panic button, because I still feel like today's game, much like yesterday, it wasn't a matter of the Phillies got outplayed, they looked awful. There were moments in the game where the Phillies did not look good. There were errors. There were, obviously when we talk about the bullpen or lack of hitting, there were moments that were not good. So it doesn't require this whole overall change, but I do think sometimes you got to shake things up a little bit, just to mix it up, and also even for a matchup purpose for your opponent, just to have a different look. You'll see sometimes in other sports, they'll switch the side a guy is on or the play that they're calling. Sometimes you do need to just switch it up, just to throw a different look at your opponent where you're not as predictable. And right now, it feels like the Diamondbacks are anticipating and reading a lot that the Phillies are doing. So I would like to see some sort of a tweak, but I don't think we need an overhaul and chaos and panic button or anything like that.
I like chaos, though. Skyler, can you scroll up? There was just a comment I wanted to read. Aaron Karen. Yeah, Topper's not going to change. He's too stubborn.
He's 60 years old. He's not changing anything.
I don't think he's too stubborn. I just don't think he's going to want to. It's kind of like a desperation, signal to the locker room if you do it in Game 5 on the road. I just don't think he's going to do it. I don't think it's because of stubbornness, but I agree he's not going to do it. I would get a little nutty and try something different. I'm with you. I would love to see Bryce Harper protected. And the guy that's hitting the best on the team is Trey Turner. I wish they could get a little kinky with the lineup.
I think the other part of it is you're showing your guys you still trust them. You're still going to put them out there.
It's an interchangeable lineup.
But it's going to show them that you got to step up. And sometimes players need that too. It's not a discouraging crack at them. It's if you're not performing at the level that we expect, if you're Bryson Stott right now, you've got back-to-back games of no hits. 7 at-bats total. 0 hits between the 2 games. You're not just given this role. You've got to earn it. You've got to earn the right to stay there too.
What do you change with him?
I mean, I'm not saying
you can't put him
I'm not
higher.
saying you change him in the batting, but I'm saying to shake things, to mix something up. Maybe it's like you talk about, whether it's moving Bryce up or Alec.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Move.
Whatever it is you're doing, that one tweak at least reminds the guys, like, nah, you got to step your game up, because I'm not going to allow you to just continue to go out there and perform the same way over and over again. As the manager of this squad, I'm going to find ways to help us win games. And if you're not able to perform, I'm going to make an adjustment. So it's almost even to get them more motivated, more focused on, I've got to make sure when my name is called, I'm ready.
Yeah. Eugene Crab says, I'm not getting any sleep tonight. Plus, we got Penn State, Ohio State in 11 and a half hours, too.
It's only Friday.
Yeah, I know Tyler's fired up. Everton, Liverpool in 7 hours. So, Tyler,
it's only Friday, guys.
His
We've got
enthusiasm
a lot of
for Penn State, who he said is going to win tomorrow, and he's a negative Penn State fan, is zapped after the Phillies blew that. But my enthusiasm for Wheelhouse Cards is never zapped. I grew up a card head. I used to get the Beckett Monthly and run around to, all the farmers markets and card stores. I was a little card junkie as a kid. And it's so good to see cards back and thriving again. And there's no better place than Wheelhouse Cards. They have locations in Wayne and Westchester. Wheelhouse is our go-to sports card, gift, and apparel shop in the Delaware Valley. They have more than just cards. That's just the icing on the cake. Their motto is cards and community, because the love of sports unites us all. They carry all of your favorite card brands. like Topps Chrome Baseball and Mosaic Football. Chris, our social media guy, is getting excited just at this conversation, as well as T-shirts, hats, and hoodies from brands like Mitchell & Ness, 47 brand, Junk Food, Starter, Shibe Vintage Sports here in Center City, which is awesome. Looking to grade your sports card collection? Wheelhouse offers you card heads, PSA grading submissions. They also host tons of different family-friendly events and birthday parties every month. I know Zach Berman said his son loves the store in Wayne. So stop into either of their stores in Wayne or Westchester. Open 7 days per week at 11 a.m. Use our code PHLY and get $10 off any purchase of $25 or more. $10 off, $25 or more using code PHLY. Also, be sure to give them a follow on Instagram at Wheelhouse Cards, or use a QR code you see on the screen to get that special. So Wheelhouse Cards, we're pumped they're on board. I'm pumped that cards are back. Did you ever have any kind of
Pokemon cards?
Pokemon cards? My daughter's just gotten into those because of the Happy Meals. They're giving them out in Happy Meals.
Wow.
So her older cousin has taught her about Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
I missed that whole generation.
I used to have I used to have my binder of cards.
Oh, man. I found my old
I
cards
had some
recently.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards for a slight stint.
I have no idea what that is.
Tyler, yep. Yu-Gi-Oh was like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh. It was an era.
Yeah.
It was an era.
I know
for sure.
Joel Embiid's a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but I don't even know what that is except Japanimation, right?
Huh?
Isn't it?
What'd you call it?
Isn't Dragon Ball Z like Japanimation?
Japanimation?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anime.
Japanimation?
Japanese anime?
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that Japanimation?
Japanimation?
Am I combining it? Did I make up a word?
Is that a real term?
I thought
Japanimation?
It's not.
It sounds like a little, yeah.
Yeah.
Japanimation.
I thought that was a thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I know Dragon Ball Z. Joel Embiid's a big fan because when he used to lay on the massage table on the courtside, he was always watching Dragon Ball Z. I never.
Yeah, we could use some of that. Is Dragon Ball Z Kamehameha? We could use some of that power, that charge up for the Phillies right now. It's like charge it up. We need that for the Phillies now.
Yeah, they need a shot in the ass. And
for sure.
6 runs should have been enough.
Jeez.
Six runs should have been enough tonight. I mean, in a bullpen game, when you're going to see 8 pitchers from the Diamondbacks, 6 runs should have gotten it done. That's going to stink. That's going to be one, if you don't win tomorrow, you're going to look back on as it. You can't lose a bullpen game like that. I mean, 8 pitchers. Who's that tall, gangly dude in the 6th and 7th innings? He shut the Phillies down. I forget his name off the top of my head. The right-handed. He was throwing the nasty.
Tom.
Yeah.
Ryan Thomson.
Ryan Thomson. He was a killer for them tonight.
That Thomson was out there dealing.
Yeah, you want to go through my notes and relive some of the pain?
No. I think my last thing before we get into notes is it feels like, I don't want to say the Phillies got complacent, but it feels like they took their foot off the gas a bit. And I think that's when I talk about making changes, making adjustments, us talking about them needing something to light a fire under them and reignite the Phillies. It just felt like when you look at game 1 and game 2 versus game 3 and game 4, the energy, the dugout, how guys are stepping up to bat, how pitchers were coming out of the bullpen and ready to take the mound, it doesn't feel the same. And it feels like they've come into these last 2 games just showing up. Like, I'm here on the field, we're gonna win, instead of going out and earning it. And we did see some of those plays. Look, Trey and Kyle, for example, running, and Trey, the way he, no hesitation, scored. We've seen it in spurts, but the difference is between a 10-0 game and obviously even squeezing out game 1 versus losing games 3 and 4 is it felt like the Phillies didn't have enough of that consistently. It was the up and down. It was a letdown, Martian. It was without a doubt a feeling of like, I won't say cockiness because I don't get the cocky vibe. I just get a complacent, took the, lack of intensity type of a performance that at times is what led to them giving up runs and making errors and making mistakes. And we talked about it game 2 against the Braves in the NLDS, that error that Trey Turner had and different plays that stick out in my mind where they were just kind of going through the motions versus coming out there and taking control of the game. Like, the Phillies are the better team in this series, and they should be coming out there every single play with that mentality of, I'm going to make a big play. Good luck trying to catch it. I'm going to pitch this. Good luck trying to hit it. And it's like, here's a 98 mile per hour pitch. I like to throw fastballs, but this time I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something. Why go away from what's been working? So I'd love to see the Phillies just getting back to, and we talked about this many times now, just stick with what works. It's the energy and the intensity that started all, that contagious energy that you see all the way throughout the roster that everybody has when we're on the field. And when you don't have a drop-off, you cannot play inconsistent. So now with that,
Martian Lynch says, I would like to sacrifice the Sixers season for a Phillies ring. I very much agree.
I'd sacrifice that as well.
I would sacrifice their next 10 years for another Phillies ring.
What would you sacrifice for our championship?
And Jay Flo, I see you commenting. Enjoy your win. If you're going to be in here, at least hit that like button.
He said he was going to come back today.
Yeah,
he definitely did, and by no surprise. I mean, the Phillies lost. I was saying that
expecting that the Phillies were going to win. But
yeah.
Jay Flo, if you're in here, just hit that like button for us at least. Enjoy your peacocking around tonight. You guys earned it. Phillies, Plaxico burst themselves and shot themselves in the foot.
Go on and win. And I agree, Barbara. Go on and win and move on. Take care of business. Put the game away. Don't get cute.
We wore our gun and sweatpants to the club tonight and shot ourselves. That's
all right, Plaxico.
Enjoy your peacocking around.
All started with the roof being closed with that 100-degree temperature.
Sucks.
It's just like Arizona. It's Arizona.
Stadium sucks.
Yeah. Either
Umpires
way.
suck. By the way, Brandon Marsh had every right. I almost wish he got kicked out of the game. That was ridiculous, that umpiring in the 9th inning. You can't call a ball inside by an inch or two and then call the same pitch on the opposite side of the plate outside by an inch or two. The hitter's never going to know, what to take. That was completely ridiculous. Dan Iasonia last night, I forget the guy's name tonight, but just way too big of an impact on the series. And I know that what this sounds like, it sounds like sour grapes because we just lost the last 2 games. But I think any true baseball fan would tell you their consistency has sucked these last 2 games. So let's hope they can win tomorrow. Zach Wheeler is the favorite on DraftKings right now at -135 to win. And, you're going to need some big hits tomorrow. And this Diamondbacks team is scrappy as hell.
Very scrappy, very scrappy. I agree, Scott. Put some lights in the stadium. It's like the Beauty and the Beast castle in there. Yeah, the umpires were all over the place. It was also, I know we've talked a lot about the bullpen and then the hitting on the other side, but it was also a sad moment to see Trey Turner's streak come to an end after 34 straight stolen bases without getting caught for the first time since 2022. We should have known then. That was like the moment when you see the crack in the foundation and it's like, oh no, here it comes. Should have known then. As early in the game, Trey Turner's stolen base streak came to an end, and for the first time since 2022, he was caught, and then that was the game.
Yeah. Tyler is texting us that he's slightly annoyed at the comment section about Hoffman and going on there. In what? Can you turn your mic on and talk?
We'll see.
Let's see. Let's give it a whirl here.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. Chat, can you let us know if you hear Tyler?
That actually might work.
Yeah.
I think that does.
Okay.
All right, so here's my thing. If you guys give me like 30 seconds.
Sure. Away.
Here's my problem. They're talking about the worst decision being Hoffman coming in early. That's leverage situations. Your manager needs to get outs in that particular moment. And when you get to leverage situations, you need to go to your leverage guys. You cannot allow this thing to swell more than it was at 2-0. And Jeff Hoffman comes in and gets outs. And yes, you have to burn one of your leverage guys early. And I understand you're going to have to live with the consequences of the next 21 outs because of the fact that you used a leverage guy in the first 3 innings.
Yeah.
But if this thing swells to 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, you're not going to give a damn about the next 21 outs because you're cooked.
Yeah, you're right.
Jeff Hoffman pitching in the 3rd inning was the exact right move at that moment.
And they brought him out in the next inning.
So you would have done you're okay with Hoffman instead of Walker?
100%. then I probably don't know if I go back to Hoffman. I'm glad he got, a couple more outs. But in that particular moment, the only acceptable outcome is to keep this game at 2-0. If it's not 2-0, the game doesn't matter at that point. So you have to get the outs that are in front of you. The most important out in a high-leverage baseball game is the next out.
Yeah,
That's all that it matters.
I don't disagree with you, but it's just a shame that was it the third?
It was the third
three
inning.
and the 2/3 innings by Sanchez? Like that's the decision of the game. And in hindsight, I don't think Sanchez was pitching horribly enough.
Sanchez is listed as 2 1/3 inning pitched.
Oh, okay, so 2 1/3. Jeez.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I mean, I
that's a
like
killer.
Hoffman in general coming out there, but so would you have gone to Walker at all?
Oh God. I probably would have gone Lorenzen because he actually has the bullpen experience in his career.
Like Lorenzen or Walker.
Walker's
somebody.
horrifying. I probably would have gone to Lorenzen.
I think I would have gone. I think you got to put one of them in there, and I would have gone with Lorenzen.
Hoffman
I know
is
you're
now
talking about it.
your second. Like Hoffman and Alvarado are all you got. So this is going to be a real delicate tightrope balance for Rob Thomson here in these final games, and how he manages it, and
that is the issue.
And it all depends on what Zach Wheeler gives you tomorrow. But Hoffman was great tonight.
And I agree with you, Karen. Sanchez has to be able to go longer. Sanchez has to go 2 1/3 inning. As a starter, 2 1/3 inning, you give up 2 hits, a run, a walk, 1 strikeout, and you're out. And now Hoffman's coming in. It was that was a lot. That was a lot early on that we did not need to see happen that quickly.
Yeah, and it was a crazy day in baseball, and things are heating up all over the ballpark. So let me tell you about DraftKings and the MLB playoffs right now. Every team is playing to finish the year strong and finish these playoffs here, these final 4 teams. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you won't miss a moment of the baseball action. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets by betting just $5 on baseball. Plus, all customers, like most of us in this room here, can take a crack at a sweet payday with DraftKings Same Game Parlay. String together multiple bets from a single game for your shot at a major payout. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code PHLY. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets by betting just $5 on baseball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHLY. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccp.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.com/baseball for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
So I see you guys in the chat talking a lot more about the bullpen question marks. Martian, you're saying if you jump this team early, I moved. If you jump the team early, then hopefully you don't have to go. Can you scroll up a little bit, Tyler? I'm sorry.
Their bullpen has
a
ton of innings on it too.
Yeah.
So that is,
I think the tough part is,
I guess, a silver lining
you
or a
can't
cancellation.
expect. Right. You can't expect and hope that the Phillies will just get out to a big enough lead that if you have whoever comes in late from the bullpen, everything will be fine because they'll have a big enough lead they won't squander it. You need to have relievers and closers that can come in down the stretch in a tight game and you don't feel like you're going to pull your hair out. And Hoffman, Alvarado, without a doubt, those are the guys. Orion, I don't want to see Orion again this series.
I'm good.
I'm good on Orion for this series. That's it for him. I don't want to see him at all
Kid's
in the
got a bright
NLCS.
future here, but
Back-to-back games.
Yikes.
He
Wasn't
gave
throwing
up
strikes.
2 runs in both games, between the 2 games, I should say. Also gave up hits and literally caused the score to shift. So I'm not putting Orion back out there at all again in the NLCS. Not to mention, I don't know what his confidence is like. It would say a lot for him mentally if he's still able to come out and pitch in the postseason, but it is not happening right now because after these 24 hours of pitching performances, I should say, Orion is done. And Craig, I'd like to be done. I don't want to see Craig for a little while, but you got to hope, again, as we talked about, Wheeler can go deeper into the game tomorrow. Wheeler should be able to. You've still got Hoffman, Alvarado. Piece it together and hope you don't need to see Craig. But, yes. What else do you have, Jamie, on your side? Because I've got a couple things I didn't share yet.
Yeah, first 12 innings in Arizona, 17 strikeouts, 4 hits, only 1 run scored. Arizona, that stadium sucks. I can't wait to get out of there. Hopefully up 3-2 and not down 2-3. That wouldn't be very much fun. But Citizens Bank Park does hold home field advantage now in these final 3. You just need Zach Wheeler to be absolutely the best big game pitcher in baseball tomorrow. That's what this series is boiling down to, and I have extreme confidence in that. So I'm gonna go to bed probably pissed off. I'll probably wake up a little pissed off, and then I'll probably start crawling out of the sewer and gear myself up towards the optimistic Jamie that's buried down deep right now. But I have all the confidence in the world in Zach Wheeler taking the mound tomorrow.
I definitely have confidence in Zach. I'm just frustrated that it feels like our bullpen went from having quote unquote depth to now having just Zach, Aaron, Hoffman, Alvarado, and Ranger. So I think it's hilarious that you call me Auntie Nay, Martian Lynch. It's hilarious. But yeah, it's gotten to a point now where, as Martian Lynch was talking about, like the game plan has become, let's hope we can score enough runs in the early parts of the game that regardless who you bring in, you're not having to cringe. And it's the playoffs. We can't just rely on that. Obviously, we'd love to have some more 10-0 types of performances, but there are going to be close games too, and you need to have closers that can come in and be able to finish out the game down the stretch. On the other side, another positive, Kyle Schwarber's home run tonight marked the 10th postseason home run for him. So he climbs up the ladder of the
Mr.
most
October
homers. Most homers in Phillies playoff history. Jason Worth still holds the top spot,
I
number
thought you were
11.
going to left-handed hitter one.
No, I didn't go to that one. Yeah, I got that there too. But yes, most homers in Phillies playoff history.
Wow.
Jason Worth, number 1. Bryce Kyle and
That's
Chase Utley
wild.
at number 2 with 10 each.
2 postseasons and he's already there.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
unbelievable.
Exactly. That's Kyle for you. But yeah, as you mentioned, also on the list for the list of the most home runs against a left-handed pitcher, Kyle also climbed up the ranks with that too. That's a really phenomenal stat that Kyle has 19 postseason home runs against left-handed, among left-handed hitters, I should say, for the postseason numbers. So sitting at the top spot now, the lone spot with 19, with Reggie Jackson at 18, David Ortiz and Jim Tomei at 17, Bryce at 15, tied with Babe and Corey.
So Bryce will probably have
Bryce is right there
overall,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, left-handed hitters, our lefties, doing it big in the postseason, but not big enough.
Yeah, I'm just looking over my notes throughout the game to make sure, I'm not missing anything. But I got to go back to the umpires in the 9th inning. And I know this sounds like sour grapes and a total loser mentality, but there should have been 2 walks in that inning. And Kyle Schwarber's double would have tied the game. So I'm probably going to wake up pretty pissed off. If you missed the umpire grade from Dan Iasonia last night, he came in at 89.4%, which is worse than an Angel Hernandez start. I can't wait to see the grade tomorrow morning, most likely, of the umpire tonight. I forget his name. But again, I'm going to sound like a loser crybaby, but that's fine. I think he had way too big of an impact on a 9th inning of a baseball game. Just no consistency at all. So
yeah,
it sucks.
Not good.
Wah.
Not good when you are having an impact as an official or an umpire in any sport, and we notice you, especially down the stretch. And now with that, Game 6, obviously you're going to need tickets for Game 6, so you can head on over to the Game Time app to buy those tickets. We were hoping we didn't need tickets for a Game 6. We didn't have to come back to Citizens Bank Park. But as you're talking about, Greg, got to win it in the bank, the main bank, the number 1 bank, Citizens Bank. So go over to the Game Time app, use that code PHLY, get $20 off of your purchase as you are purchasing your playoff tickets or any other tickets to games or concerts that you're looking to buy, because yes, we've got a Game 6, But unfortunately, the fact that we even are talking about umps, not a great thing, because as we've always mentioned, it's never good when you notice the umpires. You don't want to notice them. You want to have a game where it's all about the players, the athletes, what they're doing, coaching decisions, rotations. You don't want to have a game where you're like, ugh, the inconsistencies, the bad calls, the questionable calls. It was a strike, it was not a strike. But here we are. Here we are, guys.
Yeah, I just saw this flash up on my timeline. Alec Thomas becomes the fourth youngest player to ever hit a pitch hit postseason home run, joining Yogi Berra, Oscar Taveras, and Gavin Lux. So Alec Thomas.
There's only room for one Alec, and it's on our team. Yeah. There's no room for a second Alec.
He's a K.
No, that doesn't matter.
Ours is a C.
Alec. And we're Alec. He's Alec. And we're Alec.
Damn, he tattooed that one.
He did.
What a little short little meathead that kid is. Ugh.
Alec with a K.
God, he killed that.
You can go away. Because we're tired of seeing you after the home run today.
Oh, that rhymed. I see what you did there.
Except it was not a good rhyme. Yeah, well, okay, as we're talking youngsters, I'm gonna go back to Johan really quickly because I know Johan. We gave Johan a lot of flack for the offensive side and his production, but Johan, go yo. We've got our own youngster that's doing some big things, and he is doing what you expect from him, doing better than others when it comes to at bats, at least, and helping to score runs. So I'm gonna raise your Alec Thomas a Johan Rojas.
I like the optimism.
I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I'm running out of optimism.
And Pavin Smith is becoming my least favorite Diamondback because he's killing the Phillies.
I don't know because Marte's up there and Moreno. There's a few that are really making
Pavin
it tough.
Smith, at some point, this was like the 6th or 7th inning I saw this, he had as many hits in the series as Corbin Carroll, Christian Walker, and Tommy Pham combined. That shouldn't happen. It was like in 5 at-bats, he had 3 hits. So that absolutely sucked.
It all sucked.
Yeah, there's really nothing good to pull from tonight except Schwarber hit a home run. Bohm kind of got the bat going a little bit. That's really kind of.
There's a positive for you guys at least.
Rojas got a triple.
Shady Rays has a great deal for you.
That is a great deal.
Shady Rays provides you with shades you can rock all year round. Some quality shades. You've got snow goggles. You've got shades you can wear poolside. You can wear them heading down the slopes. You can wear them at the ballpark. And Shady Rays not only provides you with great shades that you can have all your outdoor adventures in, winter sports, but also if you were to lose them, you were to break them, anything was to happen, Shady Rays will replace them for you. So you can head over to Shady Rays now, and exclusively for all of our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out an amazing deal for the season. You go to shadyrays.com, use that code PHLY. The code is always the same. Make it nice and simple for you guys. Code PHLY, and you get 50% off of your 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses that you purchase. You can try them yourself. And if you don't believe us, believe the 250,000 people that rated Shady Rays with 5 stars, because the numbers don't lie. That's a very high number. So Shady Rays giving you a chance to rock some good shades, and if you ever need to exchange them or return them for free within 30 days, you can do that too. So no risk when you shop, you get deals, and you get some cool shades out of that. So there's a positive for you guys, a deal.
Yeah, deals are good. 50% is always good. So yeah, that's I guess we're ending on a high note there, sharing a nice 50% off people with.
That's all I got, guys.
With the good people, and Greg and everybody, Martian, Eugene Krabs, all the regulars, Big Mike. Everybody that wasn't a Diamondbacks fan in there tonight, thanks for, I guess, getting on the couch with us and going through this one because that sucked. And I'm probably going to be a little cranky in the morning about it.
Yeah, and as you're mentioning, Jonathan Harvey, who just gave us that lovely reminder that the Rangers were up 4-2 and Jose Altuve's 3-run homer. They lost to the Houston Astros 5-4, and the Phillies were up 5-2, and they lost 6-5. So what a weird day that in both games, back-to-back, similar types of performances, except the benches didn't clear today for the Phillies. but it did for the Astros and Rangers. You saw a big swing late in the game for a comeback victory for the wrong team. So thanks for that lovely reminder, because what a weird day in baseball. I know people were saying like the baseball gods were not going to let these series be sweeps. They weren't going to let them be even a gentleman's sweep and be a 5-game series. They wanted to extend it because with both teams starting out for the Phillies and for Texas up 2-0, it was like, oh no, ratings. Oh no, there's not going to be playoff baseball on. What are we going to do? And now the series have quickly switched. So Phillies will take the series though, Greg. I agree. Jamie, I definitely agree.
I think I agree. I'm just not enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, today's a new day.
Right. I think they'll be, yeah, it is today.
Today's a new day, guys. Happy game day.
Yeah, happy game 5 day. It's a must win. Team that wins this wins 64% of the time. So you got the best big game pitcher in baseball. Wheels up, as they say.
Yeah, and let's get out of this abusive relationship that we're in, Marshall Lynch, with the letdown of Philly teams. Today's a new day. It is technically officially Saturday as of this moment. It's actually 1 o'clock in the morning, which is insane. So thank you guys for staying up late with us, especially after a 6-5 loss. Game 5, Zach Wheeler getting the start. Phillies in a must-win situation because, as we talked about, 65% of teams that win Game 5 win the series. So it all comes down to today. Zach Wheeler on the mound Saturday night for another late-night start. For us here at PHLY Phillies podcast, Tyler, Chris, Jamie, myself, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for staying up late, you night owls. We'll see you back tomorrow, hopefully on a much more positive note, talking victories with a better post-game show. Let's manifest it.
I want to wave this towel again.
Yeah, we're going to wave the towel. We'll be taking victory shots. We'll be cheering. We'll be excited. We'll be smiling. We'll be happy. Let's just manifest all the positivity. Saturday, winning, all that good stuff. See you guys back here for more on PHLY Phillies podcast. Have a good one.
We all silly like the mayor.